Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost. Today, I'm joined by some friends all the way from Sweden. My co-host today is Vitalis. Oh, wait, no, that's not him. That T-shirt threw me off. Hello, Bjorn, and hello, Sami.
Hello.
Hello, nice to be here.
Uh, Pleasure to have you on, guys. Before we start, a massive thank you to our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter, as well as our community of patrons and YouTube members. Right, so today we'll be discussing all sorts of things Team Sweden and the recently finished Swedish Masters. So that's why Bjorn here is he's here as the winner of that event, and Sami, the newly appointed team captain.
Yes.
Right. If I recall correctly, you guys actually did that real quick after the WTC. It was like I had a couple of days off from work and 40K. Then I come back to work. Facebook somehow ends up on the screen, and I see an announcement from Team Sweden. We have a new captain. We have a new whatnot. It's like, wow, that was fast. What's up with that?
Yeah. So this year we weren't really we were kind of happy, but also very unhappy with our fourth position this year.
I think you were
And
like the most unlucky team in a way.
yeah, but it's what it is. We had a great run regardless, and we had great games. But we kickstarted this year by planning ahead for the next year, basically, and trying to make sure that we finish up all the admin things way before the WETC, which is maybe not always the case for Team Sweden. So we need to to fix a lot of things in the end.
It, that's why I was surprised. I mean, you guys always seem to have this very laid back approach to things, and yet still perform very well. So it's like, wait, is that still the same guys?
No, exactly. So we last year we did start an organization or a club with the team basically that are a that we work through basically for our sponsorships and things like that. With that in place for this year, we thought it was good to try to make sure that everything goes quickly to appoint the new people that are like the head of the organization basically. And the organization doesn't really take out the team. It's most about like all the things that we need to do, like sponsorships, we need to do dices and shirts, and we need to make sure that we can go to the places we're going to go and all of those admin things basically. And and that are tied to the VTC calendar basically. So that's why we kicked off right away. So after the last years, we basically had a new vote. So we have a new president for the organization. His name is Marcus, and then a new treasurer and me as the manager, which is basically the person who goes to all the captains meetings on Discord. It's not so fancy as you might believe. Yeah, and so that's why we kicked it off right away, basically, to make sure we try to get ahead.
Whoever's on those discords from the Polish community always makes it sound like it's a chore rather than a glamorous responsibility or like.
I mean, if you get an open question from like the TOs addressing the captains, there's 40 plus captains that are going to give their own response, and then you try to like, oh, I'm going to try to consolidate all these answers and try to give whatever happens here in the chat to my team, which is impossible because it's plus 40 different voices and ideas. So yeah, it's what it is.
Right. And are applications already open for the team?
Yes.
Björn, have you managed to apply?
Me, yes, I have. And quite a lot of people as well. More than last year. There's more like prospects going into the extended team this year, which is super good. Just expanding our testing pool and trying to find hopefully great new players as well.
Yeah, and one of the reason also with the WTC and us having a stream, we got more coverage. More people was interested in following us and reached out to us than the years before, which is a lot of fun, and we love it. So we started our application process right away, basically, and trying to get out like the word out to the Swedish community in all of Sweden, basically. To make sure that we can build a stronger foundation, like over, not just for this year, but for future years to come as well, to make sure that we can help develop players, be better players, be friendlier, nicer players in general.
Right, understood. So, have you got any numbers to share in terms of how many applications have you had, and are these still open, or that part is already closed?
They're never really closed, to be honest.
Okay.
We do have so basically what we have done this year is we have created something like, let's say, the squad. It's not the team. The end team is 8 players. We can't do much about it. It's the rules of the WTC. But the squad consists of, the idea is that the squad should consist between 8 and 20 players, could be more. That means basically that we have our own training partners when we start to get like down the road, when we don't want to share the list anymore, all that things. And so also, as we want to build a foundation of players in Sweden, we also want to have that pool to be bigger, so we have more great games that we can train and learn on for both players who've been there for quite some years as well as new players. But we also have like an extended team that are players that might not want to join us at WTC or play in the team, but they still want to play competitive games with us and share the ideas of lists and tactics and whatever that can be. So we are more players than just the squad that we are working on. And then basically we have 2 players or people in the team leadership, basically. That is Jeppe and Jonathan Slade Johnson, and the former, one of the former captains, as well as Jeppe, who is like in lead now for making sure that down the road we can pick our team that we want to have as the best team comp, basically, to make sure we have the best team possible. But I mean, it's quite some time left. It's before we're gonna make any announcements of the full team, basically.
Yeah, of course, obviously. And is there like a Swedish ranking system, and does it in any way influence the application process or player selection?
Yes and no. So the new organization and the team have the structure that we want to test this year is basically, before there were once a post from an old player. I don't need to mention his name. He's super friendly, but I might misquote his name. I don't know him personally. Who posted that basically the top 3 ranked players in Sweden will choose a VTC captain, and that player takes out the team, and you need to consist of X amount of top 10 players. That was the rules since beginning of ETC. So it's a long, outdated process.
Ancient history.
Yeah. So what we want to try this year instead is to include more of the Swedish top players, basically, in this process. So the organization that are handling all the like sponsorships and the money, basically, for the team to make sure that we can go to international events like Pyra or WTC are voted. So the manager, my position this year, are voted by the top 20 players plus the team, the previous team. So that means it could be between 20 and 28 people that can vote for the manager and the president, as well as the treasurer for the organization. And me as the manager then selects the people who are in charge of picking the team. So this year's Jeppe and Jonathan, basically. So, and they will obviously, I mean, we have our own ranking system, they will look at it, obviously, because it tells you something.
Mm-hmm.
It might not tell you everything, because as a team, we want to make sure that everyone that plays for Sweden behaves like a gentleman at the board. We have like strong values in fair play, and we want to have a team spirit that is high. So you need to fulfill that as well. And we need to make sure that the team, I mean, if the top 10 players, for some reason, because the reset of the ranking is weird a season,
Mm-hmm.
we can't pick 10 elder players because they were the most broken one in early 10th. I mean, it doesn't work because we can only bring one.
Yep.
So if you only play one army, it might be tough. Not to say that it's impossible, just it's tougher.
But it, I mean, it will overlap usually. I mean,
yes,
most of the team for 2024 was at least like. Did we have anybody outside the top 20? No, I don't think so.
No.
So close. No.
No.
So it is still the ranking. I mean, it's an overlap there as well.
Yeah.
But it's not the most important part of it.
No. But it all depends. Like we have a few criteria. We want people to practice with us, play TTS with us, do scrims international with us. So we have other criteria that you need to fulfill as well, except just being a great player. Even though, I mean, if you're a really great player, you can still make the team in the end.
Sure. All right. So how does the ranking system itself work? Care to share any light on that? Sounds like it's a bit of a mystery, huh?
How close to stat check do you want this to get?
I don't know.
Okay, so there's a formula base. It's kind of similar to BCP ranking points, but it's a different formula. So if you win a tournament, you get X amount of points depending on how many players there are, how many rounds there are, and what position you take in the tournament. The biggest difference in the Swedish ranking system and like BCP is if you win the tournament, you maybe get like 320 points. And then if you're second, you get 290 or almost 300. And then if you come like on 10th place, you get like 250, 60. Like you get, the difference is not that much. In the Swedish ranking system, you get way more points if you win it than if you come top 10. Like every position is a lot less points. So that's the biggest difference.
Okay, but are you guys using BCP for all that, or you've got something of your own setup?
We had kind of have our own setup. It's all the tournaments are in BCP, but then we take the data from tournaments and create it, and use
and throw it into your own thing, right?
Yeah.
So one can actually math out the points they are getting and how many they might need to keep some sort of position, right? Instead of like BCP where you never know what you're getting.
Yeah, and on our website for the ranking, you can actually see how we calculate it. So you see the formula, so you know exactly the formula. Everyone knows it. Well, not everybody knows it. Everyone has the possibility to know it if they would bother to read it.
That's their choice, right?
Yeah, but it's open information.
Right, and how many events count into the rankings? Like, is it your best 6 showings, or
I believe it's 6.
Guessing, but...
Yeah, I think so too. And from the past 1.5 years, right?
Yeah, it's 6 events from the last 1.5 year.
Okay.
I got a message that my mic is a bit low. I don't know if it's possible to raise it from your end, but otherwise I will talk louder.
I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, I can. Can I? Yeah, let's try it now.
All right. We'll see if someone screams at me that I'm too loud now.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't really hear any difference. So yeah, chat, let us know, or whoever on Bjorn's back end is listening. Right. So, Bjorn, maybe a question to you. So, how does this event that took place last week, how does it tie into all this? And what was it about, really? Because obviously Swedish Masters sounds quite nice and well, prestigious is the word I was looking for. So yeah, what's it all about?
So it doesn't like directly correlate with the WTC and I don't even think it will get a ranking point because it's an invitational. It's not an open tournament, but it's an invitational tournament for getting the Swedish champion, I guess, for each year. But you qualify by winning tournaments around Sweden or placing well in tournaments. And this year it was a slightly different setup with pods, a group stage and a final stage.
Okay,
so it doesn't tie in exactly, but I mean it's and also most important perhaps one of the Swedish golden tickets for the World Championship of Warhammer in 1 month.
Right, but so how do you get invited to this event? So is it placing in the ranking at a certain spot, like top 16, or it's a bit different?
The qualification to the tournament is by winning smaller tournaments or placing like top 3 in larger tournaments, and then from the list of people that qualify by that, then this year it was the 16 best, and then from that they went by ranking. But I think we had to get someone outside of the primary qualification and just go by ranking, I think. For like the last place.
The last year it was 32 players with the same system, and then this year was 16 due to some planning issues and things like that. So they had to cut the event to make it smaller, but still want to have it happen. So that's why it became a 16-player tournament instead. And some people don't want to come either because they don't they want to win, but they kind of maybe don't want to win because they don't have the funds or the vacations to go to the US for the singles tournament there with the golden ticket. Or you can be sick or whatever reason. It could be a long travel as well. I mean, it's the whole country, and so all of a sudden you might need to travel a long time to get there.
Yeah, but most of the players that qualified accepted and went. I think one of the top players in Sweden declined for his own reasons, and I think like Jesper that you mentioned before, Sami, he declined because first of all he already had a golden ticket, and then he was the TO instead. Basically.
Right. So, and is this all correlated? So, like this event, the organization that you've mentioned, the ranking system, is that like a collaboration, or are there like different parties involved in all of this?
It's different parties in all of this. To be fair, the Swedish Masters was founded by another hobby store, Fantasia, who was also one of the sponsors for this year's event. And then, however, they couldn't really make it happen, so that's why Weyland stepped in and took over it together with Jesper and Christian Lord. So they took it this year. So they kind of own that part, kind of, and the organization is more tied only to WTC, and the team. We don't do much else, to be fair.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, maybe the ranking is kind of on us-esque, but not really. but kind of. It's
Mhm.
it's a community thing that is.
You're just using the ranking sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
That's the feeling I'm getting here. It's quite similar to what's happening in Poland, actually. Right. Nevertheless, though, so the event itself, Bjorn, what did you take to the event and why?
I took Astra to the event because they are super strong right now, and I've been enjoying them a lot. We kind of missed that ball for WTC this year. We wrote them off like in this spring. So we kind of missed them, and after WTC we said, well, we need more eyes on them, and we need some players to know Astra. So I picked them up as well as a couple of other guys, and I've been enjoying playing them a lot. So that's why I took them. Yeah, and but the meta was kind of fun in the event because we knew the pods beforehand. We knew who we were facing, and knew like what kind of armies different people like to play as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shifted the meta a bit, I think. And we had some interesting pods and a lot of upsets. Like the seed one players, not a single seed one player actually went through to the finals.
Okay, so let's take a step back then. Because you mentioned pods, why don't you tell us how this event then was organized, like from round one up? And I understand this submission was after the pods were known, so you, like you said, you could kind of skew into your pod.
Yeah, exactly. So the pods, 4 pods, they were the seeds were taken from the ranking. So the 4 top players in the ranking were seeded 1 and got one, split up in the pods. And then I think from like the C2, 3, and 4, it was randomized between the rest of us, but still in like the in the seeds. So yeah, I don't think it was like an exact correlation of the ranking after the first 4, but still split up in seed 1 to 4. Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay, right.
as I said, you knew the pod and the players, and also the maps. I think were a bit, for me at least, it was important. I have been playing a lot of Dorns with Astra before, but two of the maps in the group stage were, is it 52, the WTC 52 map on Tipping Point, which is horrible because you can't move through the sides with anything except like infantry. So Dorns couldn't fit through the side, so I opted for some Russes instead. So my list choice were mainly,
Influenced
I
by
mean,
that.
but yeah, by the maps. But I know some people build their list according to like the opponents in the pods, which also might have bitten them in the back.
Those tipping point maps. Okay,
yeah.
so pods of 4, you play 3 games there, and what happens afterwards?
So the winner of each pod went to semifinals, and then of course finals and bronze match after that. So it only
Okay.
4 people that played on the second day.
Right. And is this what the formula is like each year, or was that a twist provided by the new organization team?
Yeah. It's new for this year. Before it has been a like a classic. Is it Swiss, like the regular you?
Your
Yeah.
regular GT, just 5
Yeah.
rounds fair
Exactly.
play.
Yeah. So this was a bit of a twist. I'm not sure exactly why, but it was something they wanted to try, maybe to make it more interesting with the like the semifinals and stream with the streams going on as well to make it more exclusive, perhaps. I don't know, but it was a bit of a twist that actually changed the meta a bit as well. So like the pod, we had one pod with the two sister players in the tournament played in the same pod. So they wanted to be able to beat each other, so they took a lot of exorcists just to try to like indirect each other, which maybe meant they didn't have a good enough arm against one of our like dark horses in the tournament that actually went through and won his pod, which was a Ultramarine Gladius, and he beat the hell out of the sisters, like 17-3 and 18-2 or something like that. So there were a lot of upsets, and also some last year's winner of the Swedish Championship didn't really, I wouldn't say dare, but didn't want to bring Dark Angels because he was a bit afraid of facing against he thought correctly
Chaos
that there
Knights.
would be at least 2 Astra players and some Chaos Knights as well. So he opted to play something else, and maybe he should have stuck to Dark Angels that he played really well during tournaments this autumn. Yeah, so it was quite fun. Many things happened that I don't think were a bit upsets.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it does sound like you can maybe it's a bit easier to hype up each game when you're doing it like this with the pods, with the set. You can then actually call things semifinals, finals, right? Maybe it does add a little bit of a.
I mean, from a streaming point of view, it's a lot of fun because you know this is the final. The person losing is still second in Sweden. It's not, I'm 8 now.
Yeah, exactly. Got pushed down to 4th place.
Or if you're using just WTC scoring, you're streaming a game which you think is a final, and then someone else wins entirely, right?
Exactly.
That could also happen.
So that's why I kind of like it from that point of view. From like looking at the streams, it's more engaging and more fun, obviously. When it is a pure final, it's a pure bronze match.
Yeah. So the showmanship part of it, it's a good idea to have it like this.
Good. Right. So, Bjorn, what was in your list? Why don't you tell us a bit more about it? I mean, you've already mentioned some list choices in terms of the tables that were there, and obviously you've played the WTC tables and missions, presumably.
Yeah.
Which you've also mentioned, right? So, what about the list?
So, I mean, obviously, the Pony King, Solar Leontes, he's always in in every US list, and his command squad and some dudes to just hide back. But I also had a Scion Tempestus command squad with a 10-man Scion squad to deep strike and just blast things. They performed really well. Katashans 2 units, 2 chimeras. I wanted to have them in chimeras to be able to just push them up on objectives and survive a bit more. And of course, 18 Bullgrins, you gotta have them. Yeah, of course. And in almost every game, they were, of course, the MVPs. Please don't nerf them, GW. Not too much. And then I had 2 Hellhounds. I really like them. They are tough unit that you can just stick on objective and give some nice Overwatch and stripping cover for your that I played Lehman Russes instead of Dawns. Then you need to stack those debuffers. So I had 2 Hellhounds and then 2 regular the trusted Lehman Russ. And as I said, with the Hellhounds and also an Exterminator stacking the AP and ignoring cover, they actually hurt a lot. And with their inbuilt rerolls, they did some work. No, it's a tough chassis as well that you can push up late game. Yeah, and that was basically it. No, yeah, I had an Earthshaker carriage as well to get some slows in, and that was not exactly a pick for the group stage, but I suspected there would be some melee armies that I would face, so I would, yeah. But I also like it just to have something to slow and shoot in the wreck.
Mhm.
So I think that was the army I played.
Unbelievable. It's so many stuff. It sounds like 3,000 points, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a lot of things. I think that's why they are so good. Tough things as well, and yeah, solid list. And it worked fine.
Okay. So let's go through your games, and maybe not in too much detail, but just like a bit of an overview and maybe some takeaways. What you think of the pairings that you've actually had? So who did you play, and what did you play against in round one?
The first round I played against one of our new prospects in the what did you call it, Sami? The squad. Yeah, one of the new prospects in the squad. Really good player that plays Admech. I think only plays Admech. So obviously he played Admech with Canis, Rex, and yeah, the regular things. The map was that 52 WTC, so I could just push up Bullgrins on the sides and deny him primary. The tanks did the work and landed Scions and blasted some breachers, and that was basically the game then. So that was a bit tricky, but I won it 73, I think. And then the next game was against.
Before we go into that, so you said Admech with Canis Rex, right?
Yes.
What do you guys think of adding Canis to an Admech build? Because I feel like it kind of goes against what you're actually trying to do with Admech. I mean, sure, he puts out some damage, right? Gives you some stratagem options, but you're kind of going for the spamming the board, and that's for 450 points in just one place. So
he plays a more like elite Admech list, not the
bird
flooding the
jail.
board with boys, not the bird jail. Yeah, exactly. With a 6-man breacher squad and Canis and what's it called? The disintegrator, like the shooty tank.
Yeah, Scorpion's disintegrator.
Yeah. So it wasn't as much trash that just flooded the board, which in one way made it more comfortable for me. But on the other hand, like Canis can kill Bullgrins well with his shooting and melee. So but yeah, I agree. It would have been harder for me if it was just a ton of guys flooding the board and keeping me in my deployment zone.
Right. Okay. So game 2.
Yes, against Patrik Wret, and he, I think he was the one that was added afterwards. I think like a ringer is the wrong word, but not qualified the regular way, but added into the tournament. And he played Liam Wesel's CSM from London, LGT. And not the only one. And I think you need more. You need to be
not
Liam.
Not the first time I hear of someone playing that list.
Yeah.
Fun fact. According to StatCheck, CSM the worst win record this weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
One might believe it's a lot of people who looked at Liam and thought, "Oh, this is a great list. Let's play that one for this tournament." I never tried it.
This can't be hard.
Exactly.
If he can play it, so can I.
Yeah. I just have 6 different characters that all have all the rules in the games that I need to play perfectly.
Yeah.
For them to be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So and he hadn't had the same experience with it as Liam had, so it didn't work out for him really. And also it was terraform, and I went first and just went up and terraformed all 3 objectives in the middle, and then I passively would have scored 40 points primary just by standing on my home objective after that. So basically I just forced him to push, and that doesn't work on an open map against Astra.
Yeah, because you just stop at the Bogren and then get shot to death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great interactive
so that was
experience.
Yeah, fun for everyone. Yeah, and also, I mean, it was just pouring salt into the wounds, but I also had like really good dice that game. It was rough. Yeah, that was quite comfortable. The slowing with the basilisk is very good against that kind of army as well, and the bullet is just tank.
Okay. And then last game of the pod.
The last game in the pod, my nemesis in Swedish 40K, Andreas Holm, player from last year's WTC. He played Orcs then, and he played Orcs this Swedish championship. And we always have nice games, but I can't seem to win against him. So I was like, oh, well, if it ends after this game, that's fine. I can drink more beer and sleep in tomorrow. So it was fine either way. And he played a Warhorde army with like a 20-man unit, Gus and some knobs, flash kits, a regular Warhorde, but with the 20-man blob to add some group. And it was the same that rough 52 tipping point map that I thought would be hard because there were a lot of staging points for the Orcs, but I went first and just pushed up things. He had to send his 20-man unit in to kill my Katashans and try to tie things up, but then I could kill that, and then there's nothing really that can kill the bullets properly. So after that, it was quite easy to just take control of the game. And finally, I won against Andreas Holm with a 20-0. So I got my revenge.
Rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Do you think that game would have gone very differently had the Orcs gone first?
I think it would have gone differently. He would. I mean, now I could control the Wa basically by going first.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been different. He could also have staged better and then perhaps hit me turn 2 with like that 20-man unit. I think. I still think it was hard for him because the objectives were quite open on that map. Like the middle objective is just dead in the open, and the side objectives. Yeah, it would have been different, of course, but I think it would have been still in favor of Astra.
Okay, understood. So before we go into day 2, Sami, have you been following that event?
Yeah, I followed the event. I was actually there at the venue on Saturday, and I watched the streams on Sunday from home. So I was following them, and I went around and looked at the games and talked to the players.
Cool. Was there a lot of spectators? Out of curiosity.
Not a lot, but a few. The venue was fairly small, so
yeah.
Okay.
And it was a bit outside of the city as well, in a residential area, and not the easiest place to get to, I think, for just to drop by.
No.
But so there were some people that came and watched and talked a bit. So
you could watch from home, right? So that always kind of detriments the point of going in person.
Yeah.
And Sami, what's your take on the meta at the event? Did anything surprise you? Or were there any like takeaways in terms of factions or matchups?
I mean, there was it was a lot of fun things that happened, I believe. everything's from like the sister off with just just indirect firing at each other and trying to basically super hyped about going first and gonna win the game, and then it's end up in a draw of a 10-10. And we had Joel Larsson, who also played the previous year's champion, and who was with us at the WTC this year. For his first year, he played Liam's list of chaos, as Bjorn mentioned, and didn't really perform as he hoped. He drew one, lost one, and won one game.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was a bit of a surprise. Pontus played really well with his Ultramarine Gladius with a 10-man unit of Assault Intercessor.
Yeah, just beat the sisters with that.
And just played really well and beat the sisters. He won against was it second? Two sister players he won against with like 18 and 17, and then a draw, I think, was the last. Oh, lost against CSM on day 2, but still won the. Yeah. With 12-8. But okay. I mean, just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun games and to watch and see, and also seeing World Eaters go really well during the tournament. And
I mean, it's a bit of a weird one to get any takeaways from, right? Because we've got some points changes at least around the corner, so it's like, will it be valid? We'll see. So after day 1, did you already know who you're playing the next morning, and was it randomized, or was it already set out before that? Like, winner of pod 1 plays winner of pod 3 on the.
It was like a seed between the winners of the pod. So I was the best performing in the pods. So I played against the least performing. So
yeah. Okay.
So like a pod system there as well, I guess. A seed system, yeah, you know. So I that meant I got Mirror, the other Astra player in the tournament. That can be interesting. The co-captain of this year's WTC, Johan Norman, that played them. Yeah, so we always have nice games when we play. So it was a nice start of the final day. And I was a bit lucky there. It was, spoiler alert, it was the toughest game of the tournament, but he had double Dawn. No, he had one Dawn and one Russ, and 2 Scion Blobs. So he had a stronger army in the mirror, I believe. But I got lucky that I went second and could just play passive and win in turn 5, basically, forcing him to act into me, basically.
Sounds like it is really a bit of an issue right now in the Pariah Nexus mission pack. The player who just goes second really gets a lot of control over the game and play passively, and then try to squeeze out the smallest win in round 5.
That generally,
almost
yes. Almost always. But I actually, like 3 of the games this tournament, I went first and was very happy about that. Just to be able to actually push up and take the midfield and force my opponent to act into me, which is what I want. I want you to like have to charge into Bullgreens and then get shots. So I think at least Astra is an army that can play well going first, depending on the matchup, of course. But this tournament, I mean, I got lucky. I got to go first when it was good, and second the one game that I really wanted to go second. So I won't deny that.
Oh, you always need a little bit of luck, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how good you are.
Yeah.
And
I mean that match, it's not that much to say about it. Was a mirror.
It ended 11-9.
Yeah, exactly, 11-9. So it was just, it looked quite grim. It looked like I was gonna lose it. He had some better secondaries during the game, and it was like, it was tight. But fortunately, I could score a lot on the last turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know the answer to this question, but given you are using WTC scoring, what would happen in case someone would get a 10-10? Given you're playing knockouts at this stage.
Round extensions. So round 6.
Round 6.
If it was like a perfect draw. Otherwise, no. In the final day, it was 1 point difference is a win. So it was, if it were a perfect draw, then you would play round 6, which fortunately didn't happen, because that's weird.
Do you score at the bottom of round 6 as well if you go second? I have no clue. I never did it. I'm not the TO of the event, so.
Yeah, let's just say everybody's happy that didn't happen. I think.
Yeah,
that could have been
I don't
really
think
weird.
I even want to think of any solutions like that. Jeez, I remember when you could get round 6 and round 7 randomly.
Yeah.
Horrible days. Final, looking at it, you went against World Eaters, right?
Yes. Another of the new prospects in the squad. I forget what we call it. Squad, yeah. Another new prospect. Really good World Eater player. He plays mainly that army as well, so he knows it. And he won his group against both the last year's champion, Joel, as you said before, Sami, and also another really good 1,000 Suns player, and also I think, is it South Africa's captain, Saki? Is he the captain of Team South Africa? He plays in Team South Africa anyway, and lives in Sweden. So a good group that he was in, but managed to win it, and then did World Eater things against the Ultramarines in his semifinal, and just killed him. But yeah, so the final against the World Eaters, and that's, I think it's a quite good matchup for Astra. The Bullgrins are super good. I mean, basically half the damage output of the World Eaters. He played a really interesting list. He had like a very MSU. He had Angron, and then just, what was it, 50 Jackals?
50 Jackals, 2 5s of Corn Berserkers, 3 of each 8-pound. So 3 times 3.
And also 3 times 2 spawn as well. So it was a super wide MSU. Very cool World Eaters list, and performed very well.
Yeah, a bit of innovation in where you don't usually see it, really.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, like against Bullgrins, you need that critical mass. A 3-man unit doesn't do a lot with halving the damage, and then with interrupts, and it's rough. I think also he was a bit frazzled, just because he also knew it was a tough match. So here also I went first, which was nice. Here I just pushed up on the objective, and then the nails were biting, and he charged in. And Angron died turn 1, turn 2, and like half of his army got more or less destroyed, and then it was hard to get back into the game, basically.
I mean, it's rough to kill 6 Bullgrins with World Eaters. You need Angron and a 3-man unit, and maybe something more to actually make it happen.
Yeah, or maybe like Khan and the 10-man Berserk squad that can shoot through. But with that cool MSU army, that didn't work against Astra.
All right. And congratulations, you're now the Swedish Master, as I understand.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
And are you going to utilize the golden ticket?
Absolutely. It's quite quite a short time there, but yeah, everything's in order. I've booked my flight and everything, so yeah, I'm going there together with 2 other that will represent Sweden as well from 2 other tournaments.
We have more than 2 others.
We have 2 that
3 others.
represent Sweden, and then we have
Oh,
2
wow.
more Swedes that will represent other countries technically.
Okay. Do you mean since they won the ticket in another country?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe maybe you can choose what country you want to represent, but
Yeah.
we have 5 Swedes that will be there. Who knows who they will represent? We'll see.
Okay,
Hopefully
so from which countries have you stolen golden tickets from?
The only like actual stolen ticket is from America. One former WTC player, Daniel Hesselberg, went there
Or
and
Papa D,
played
for those who know him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Papa D, yeah. And he won the American Team Championship, like the team tournament that was in
A few weeks before that, let's see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So he got a golden ticket there, and then we have another player, Victor Berinholtz, which actually also played the championship this weekend. He lives in Norway, so he's a Swede but lives in Norway and won a ticket from Norway. So I think he might represent Norway actually.
I mean, he played for their WVTC team last year.
Yeah.
And probably will
year,
again. Yeah, this year, exactly. And we'll probably
so
do it.
He will probably represent Norway, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. But he's also from Umeå, where I'm from in the north of Sweden. So
has he applied for Team Sweden or not yet?
No.
Or weighing his options? Okay. Right. Sami, I've got one question regarding the team. So have you got any event plans already laid out?
We have some events planned for the team in general. We have Pyra Cup that we are going to with the team. We also have
excellent choice, by the way.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Excellent choice of an event, by the way.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We also have the Nordic Masters that we're going to host this year again. We had it. We had a Nordic Master last year as the first one, and it's kind of organized by the team. It's not truly 100% that's the way it is, but it's one of the players from last year at least who's also in the squad. And then we basically invited Norway and Finland, and Holland was there. We invited Iceland, but they had to cancel. And
Denmark.
Then Denmark, yeah. So we're going to have the Nordic Master this year again. And then there is a Swedish team. There's a few team tournaments in Sweden, but usually we don't go as this Swedish team because it's smaller events. So we usually go like with the local clubs or friends. But that's the main things are the Nordic Master, WTC obviously, and Pyra that we're going to, and then we'll see if there be any more that we'll go to, but not on our official schedule. That's only those 3.
Okay, understood. All right, great stuff. Guys, we'll be wrapping up. Thanks very much for coming in. It was very interesting to chat with you guys. To everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. If you like what we do, remember to like, subscribe, whatnot, and maybe consider becoming a patron, as that helps us immensely. A massive thank you to our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter. And with all of that, we bid you a goodbye.